Hey everybody, it's Anthony here, and today I'm going to be doing my impressions of the PlayStation 4. It is light enough that I can show you and pick it up, unlike the Xbox One. But speaking of Xbox One, this video has 100% more pajama pants. So let's get started here with some of the games I picked up. I picked up 4 retail games at launch, and I'll just go through each of them here for a bit. Let's start with the exclusives. Let's start off with Knack. I've only played a little bit of Knack, and that is how I would recommend playing it, in little increments. If you play maybe an hour or 2 at a time, this game is probably going to be a lot more enjoyable than if you just try to power through it in one day. The combat does get a bit repetitive. I got to the point where I was like, okay, it's starting to get a little repetitive. Give it like a slight break, maybe give it a week break, then come back, play another 2 hours, maybe come back in a couple days, play some more. That's how I'm playing it, and I think that's probably the best way to enjoy it. The graphics are stunning. It looks really, really good. It's a pretty decent launch title. It's not like an amazing platformer. It's not going to go down in history as like one of the Jak and Daxters or Crash Bandicoots, Spyros, or anything like that. But it's a pretty decent launch title, and I have hopes that if they make like a Knack 2, they could make it better, or if I think this was Japan Studio. If they make another kind of platforming game with at least these good of visuals, they have a lot of potential. So it's a decent game. I wouldn't recommend $60 though. It's a bit expensive. Pick it up on the cheap end. It's probably going to come down in price too, and I'll bet it's going to be one of those free PlayStation Plus games in maybe a couple months. I'll bet you it's going to be one of those. Next up then is Killzone Shadowfall. This game is the quintessential PlayStation launch title that shows you how the graphics are probably going to be looking for at least the first year. This game looks amazing, and then you can only imagine if a launch title looks this good, what is the next Uncharted going to look like? What is the next Quantic Dream game going to look like? It is so freaking good looking. Story mode, story's okay. I've only played maybe 2-3 hours of the story so far, and I'm interested. It's not super engaging first-person shooter story like something like BioShock Infinite, but it's a pretty decent story, and the multiplayer is where this really shines. This is a really fun multiplayer game. If you want a shooter and you don't like COD or Battlefield, this is probably going to be the shooter you're going to pick up for your launch title. I believe it has 24-person online, and yeah, it's just great. Remote play, but I'll get to remote play later. So yeah, Killzone Shadowfall is pretty decent guerrilla title. Next up is the 2 third-party games I picked up. First one being Call of Duty Ghosts. Okay, well, let's get this out of the way. The graphics, they're decent. They're not anything near Killzone. Killzone just makes this look like trash almost. Killzone's amazing looking, but graphically this isn't the best looking game. The online is basically the same as all the other Call of Duties, as they always are. It's kind of like a football game. You get your yearly update, but that's what people want when they buy this. They want the incremental upgrades. They want to keep playing the same style of game. They don't want too drastic of a change. And so with Call of Duty Ghosts, since I haven't played a multiplayer Call of Duty in a number of years, I decided to pick this one up, and I've actually been having a lot of fun playing online. I'm almost at the point, I believe, of prestiging, if prestiging is even in this game online. So I've sunk quite a bit of time into it, and it's my go-to game if I just want to kill off like an hour, just want to burn time, just want to relax and not think about anything, you know. You just sit back and play some multiplayer of this. So yeah, it's pretty decent. The story mode is actually, for a shooter, it's, for a console shooter at least, well, I shouldn't say console, but for a launch title shooter, I mean. Between these two, for campaign, Call of Duty, I think, has so far the better story mode. It was pretty interesting. I like the slight futuristic look and the way they portray a new nation fighting back. Because it's usually like Russia, Germany, or some kind of power like that fights against you. But this one, it's like South America combines into one federation. And it's pretty interesting because I haven't seen something like that in a shooter or in a movie or something like that. So it's pretty cool. But other than that, it's pretty basic gameplay and stuff like that. So then we got Assassin's Creed Black Flag. This is the one I've played the least. I'm saving this one for last. Once I finish Knack and I finish Killzone, I've already finished Call of Duty. Once I finish those two, I'm going to go finish this one. I've only played maybe the first hour or so of it, and it looks slightly better than the console versions that are out right now. It's basically just 1080p and maybe less aliasing and maybe slightly farther draw distance. It's not that much better. But that's not the point. If you're picking up a new console and this game came out on both, you might as well just pick up the new one if you got your new console. There's no point in picking up the old one then. So yeah, that's why I picked this one up. Apparently it's got 60 minutes of extra gameplay on PS4. Wouldn't know yet because I haven't gotten very far. But apparently it has multiplayer, and I've never played a multiplayer in Assassin's Creed. So my brother picked this up on his PlayStation back home in California. And we're probably going to be playing this some multiplayer. We've already been playing Killzone multiplayer. And then we'll go talk about some digital games, which comes in. We've been playing Resogun. And Resogun has been probably my favorite launch title for the PlayStation 4. It's a downloadable title, free for PlayStation Plus. And let me just say this right now. PlayStation Plus, guys, is the best deal for games. And it's by far... If you're going to buy one game a year, buy PlayStation Plus. Because the amount of games you get is unbelievable. You get so much stuff for $50 a year. You'd have to almost be a fool not to get it. And I know some of you don't have it. I'm not saying you're a fool, but you need to get it. You have to get PlayStation Plus if you have a PlayStation, and especially if you have a Vita. My gosh, you'd never have to buy a game again if you have a Vita. There's so much good stuff on there. I digress. Let's get back to Resogun. Resogun, it is a twin stick kind of shooter, but it's not like Geometry Wars or Super Stardust, even though the developer made Super Stardust before. I can't remember their name. You're basically on it's like a shooter that goes horizontal, but you can just keep going in an infinite circle around the level, and it's just so freaking fun. There's a few different ships to choose from, 5 or 6 different levels. Boss fights are really awesome, and I hope that they release DLC like they did with Super Stardust Delta. I believe they released DLC for the Vita version, and I want more Resogun. It's just so fun. The online multiplayer is a blast, and like I said, me and my brother have been playing that. We've been having lots of fun, getting high scores and just trying to go through the whole game without dying on like veteran. It's so hard yet so fun and challenging. What else about Resogun? Yeah, there's no local co-op with it, which is a shame, but I can see why, because you need basically your own screen. If you start distancing from each other, if you're all on one screen, you would kind of just lock at the edges. But with online, one person could be on the other side, one person could be over here, and you can just keep spinning around and covering as much ground as possible or staying together. So yeah, that's Resogun. It's free on PlayStation Plus. Go get it. And if not, if you don't have PlayStation Plus, I think it's $10-15. You might as well then just pay the $50 to get PlayStation Plus, because you're getting Resogun. You're also getting Contrast for free, which is the next game I've played, and I've played maybe about halfway, 3/4 of the way through Contrast. It's, from what I heard, a fairly short game, and that's right about the point where I got a little stale with it. The story was definitely interesting and engaging for me. I was very interested to see what would happen, but it just kind of, it was almost too ambitious for itself for an indie title. It's a big open world, and it looks beautiful. The platforming is really cool. It's got a really interesting mechanic. You're jumping into shadows to get through different things, and it all sounds great and dandy, but it doesn't capture me. I was very excited for this before it came out, and it's just average, I would say, for a indie platform. It's just about average, but it's also free on PlayStation Plus if you want to go check that out. So yeah, there's more titles coming out in the future for PlayStation 4. I'm super excited for Infamous. I've played a bit of Infamous 1, and I haven't played Infamous 2, and I'm actually excited for this one. Infamous 2 looks great. The Order all looks fun, and Drive Club, and you got all the other third-party games like Watch Dogs, The Crew, Division, all that kind of stuff coming out. But that's the future, and we're just talking about now. So now let's talk about the operating system, the OS for PlayStation 4. It's got a hint of the PS3 cross-media bar, which I was a huge fan of, and it almost surprises me that people don't like the cross-media bar on the PS3. I thought it was far superior to Xbox's layout, even from the original dashboard blades. I just love the media bar, the simplicity, the elegance of the cross-media bar, and they have elements of that in the PlayStation 4 version of the operating system, but it still has some tiles like how Xbox has, but they're all laid out in one little area, and it's very organized, neat, and very clean. And another thing, talking about the operating system, is there's a second chip on the PlayStation 4 which kind of speeds up different parts of the system. Like if you're downloading in the background, you're getting things done. It's very, very snappy. It's very snappy. It blew me away when I first plugged it in for the first time, and I was sitting there for a good 20 minutes just going through the menus and just feeling the speed of it. Everything's quick, snappy, and it's really, really fun. I've never had that much fun playing with a new console's operating system or OS. It was very cool. So then on to features, you kind of need another, well, let's talk about the control. So the DualShock 4 is a complete redesign from the previous DualShock 3, which basically had the same design since the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 era, or halfway through PlayStation 1 era. So yeah, DualShock 4 is completely redesigned. Feels so much better in the hand. The PlayStation 3 controller started to grow on me over time. At first I wasn't a fan of it, and it started to grow. This one is just instantly feels far superior. I used to think that having the analog sticks on the same plane was the reason why I didn't like the PlayStation 3 controller, but that is not the case. Having them on the same plane on here, it feels so good, because I used to say, oh, I like them how on Xbox, one's up here, one's down here. I love it now, being on the same plane. They feel great. I don't know, something about the way the controller feels now, instead of it being, I guess, on the old one, since these are shorter, you had to grip it a little higher, and your hands go down a bit more. I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but this one, it just feels more natural. It feels good. The triggers are definitely improved over the previous ones. What's nice too about these is the bottom parts are flat. So I had this problem with the PlayStation 3 one. If you lay it down on a table, sometimes when you lay it down, the triggers pull, and then like something will happen in the game or something. If you want to lay it down, you did something. It was a little inconvenience. Like if you're watching a Blu-ray, you place it down, it starts fast forwarding on the old ones. This one, they're flat, which is very nice. It's got the share button, which you can use for recording gameplays, taking screenshots, which I actually haven't even done any of that while I've used the PlayStation 4, surprisingly. And then you can also stream to Twitch with it. It's got this touch bar kind of thing right here, which, like in Killzone, for example, if you swipe up, you can do different things. Swipe down, right? You have different commands. In Call of Duty, it's just simply to access your leaderboards and stuff like that. It doesn't do anything special, but some games take better advantage of it than others. I know Warframe, you can do your specials by sliding on the thing like that. It's got the headphone connector here if you want to use your headphones, which, quick little story about the headphones that came with it, the little crappy one that came with, I had it in my suitcase when I was traveling back up here to Seattle, and the cord was cut in half. I don't know if it just somehow cut in my bag, because I checked my PlayStation, I checked it with all my other PlayStation stuff because I wanted to bring it back with me, obviously, and then I'm not sure if TSA cut the cable, or if it just got cut in the back. I don't see how it would have gotten cut because it was in the box, but somehow it was cut. Whatever, it was a crappy headphone thing anyways. You can use like your Apple headphones, your smartphone headphones in here, and it'll still work. It looks like the cat wants to join in. Come on, kitty. Come on. Come on, Circa. Come on. No, she's not going to jump. You might see her walking by in the back here. So yeah, there's the headphone connector. It's also got a speaker built into the control, so if you're playing a game like Resogun, you hear different commands like save the last human will come up, and they'll say it through there. If you're playing Killzone, it does audio logs through here, which is really cool. It's something that I think BioShock in the future would take advantage of, having audio logs play through there, because it makes it sound more speakery than the crispness of the TV. This sounds pretty bad, and I think that's what they'll use to an advantage. Directional pad's just as awesome as ever. The buttons are good, and yeah, there's a nice... The back here has a different material than the front part. The front's it's more smooth. The back has more grip to it. It feels good. It feels really good. And then there's the light bar here, which if you're playing a game like, I think in Killzone, green, the bar will be green if you have good health. It starts turning red or flashing, depending on your health indicators. Stuff like that. So there's no start button anymore. There's just options and share. I think I already went over that. And then it charges with a micro USB. That's basically it. Battery life on this, let me quickly state, is... It's not as good as the previous console controllers. I think it's like 7 or 8 hours worth fully charged, which I wish they would make... I hope they make a new model of this where it has a bigger battery in it, because I think what it is this light bar is taking away some of it, because you don't always need it in games. I don't even have the camera for the PlayStation, and I think this light bar might be using some of it, but it's an LED, so I don't know how much it's using. That's basically it for the controller, though. I absolutely love it. It feels great. It's just got a good feel to it. Hi, kitty. You gonna join us? She's joining us for the review. Or impressions. Yeah, run away. Okay. And then lastly, remote play, which you need the PlayStation Vita for. But you can also use, I believe, your smartphone or your tablet for second screen functionality, which some games support it. I don't even know which games support it. I can't think of any. Some games will support second screen. I know like Watch Dogs will in the future, and Division and stuff like that, where you can have your tablet or your phone as another screen to it, kind of like how the Wii U does. And I've seen an attachment, let me go back to the controller real quick. I've seen an attachment for this where it clamps on through the bottom here, and then it holds up, and you can like clamp your smartphone up here, so it looks like you have a screen up here. You can touch your screen while you're holding it. You don't have to leave your controller too much, so you can just be like using your finger up there, touch things. So that's pretty cool. I'll probably pick one up once games have more compatibility with second screen. But onto remote play, like I was saying. So you have to have the Vita for remote play, and I've actually found myself to be using the remote play quite a bit. It's a very cool feature. I don't have my PlayStation connected because I picked it up to show you. So on the PS Vita, you have to update to the new software, and then you click the new icon that's PS4 link. It's right here, and you'd start that up. You go in, and you can choose between in here the option of doing second screen or remote play. And remote play it's pretty decent. We did a test here of Call of Duty. Since we only have one controller, we did split screen. One person was on here, one person was playing through the TV. The only downside to it was that on here it was still split screened. So like you only get half of this little screen, which it sucks, but it worked. And I can see the potential in the future for titles that aren't launch titles that have more time for development. Like maybe next year's Call of Duty having full support where one person can play full screen on this Vita, another person can play full screen on the TV, so there's no screen looking issues, and that would be really cool. But besides remote play, I was playing games like Resogun. When I was back at home in California, I went downstairs and I was testing out Call of Duty streaming. I had it upstairs, and then I had it streaming to downstairs, and it was playing pretty smooth. It depends on your internet connection, obviously. You do see a little bit of artifacting and a little bit of compression. It's almost like watching a YouTube video. It's not going to be as crisp, but it does, if you're sitting still, or depending on the type of game, it does look very good. The controls are not very delayed, but once again, it all depends on your internet connection. I think here we have 50 down and 5 up, so remote play works pretty decent. At home we have 18 down and 1.5 up, and it still worked good across the whole house. So it probably, if you have 15 or if you have 10 up and at least 1.5 up, you're probably going to be able to do it pretty decently. So that is remote play. It is a feature that has a lot of potential. Same with second screen, so much potential for the future, and I'm very excited for what that will bring. So that is basically the impressions. Let me just go over it quickly then. Cat hair everywhere. What the actual console, like how I think it looks, do I like it, whatnot. So yeah, it's a very slim design. It's tiny compared to the Xbox One. Okay, so we're back after the memory card filled up, and the design of the PlayStation 4, we'll get back to that. So yes, it has a very interesting shape to it, but it's nice because it's stackable. You can put stuff on top. No vents on the top like the Xbox One, so you don't have to worry about that. All the vents are on the sides here, side here, and the back. It's got a slot loading Blu-ray drive. The top here has a light that goes across, so like when it's on, depending on what it's doing, you'll see a light going across the system. Yeah, that's basically that. I mean, you got all your connectors on the back. You have you just got all your basic stuff. It's very simple and streamlined. You got 2 USBs on the front. One thing that people complain about is the capacitive buttons on the front here. You basically just touch them to turn on like the original launch PlayStation 4. I'm a huge fan of capacitive buttons. I hate pushable buttons. I'd rather it be like this, where it's just very streamlined and sleek. Some people complain though that like you accidentally bump it, turns on, opens the disc, whatever. And I can see that point. I definitely see that point. Then on the bottom, also people are complaining that there's, you can't really see it right now, but they're complaining about the tilt thing. So the rubber grommets on the bottom, I guess is the right word, there's not one over on this side. So if you push, it kind of tilts a bit, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It would literally be, yeah, it doesn't even matter. It's not a big deal. So that's basically the PlayStation 4. I really like the design, and to me it feels like this wasn't the original PlayStation 4 design. I have a feeling it was bigger, something along the lines of the size of the original PlayStation 3, that big, and I have a feeling that this might have been their refreshed design. So you gotta, they obviously have these things cooked up for a long time. They probably knew about the PS3 some for a long time, that they had a design for it, and they just save it for, you know, whenever. I have a feeling this might have been the second design for, like the redesigned version, because it is super thin and light. It's very small compared to Xbox or even the old PS3. It's very nice. Upgrading the hard drives on it, so you can put an SSD, a hybrid drive, bigger hard drive in it if you want. You can do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a great console. $400, no camera, Connect. The Xbox One has the Connect included, but it's $100 more. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving the PlayStation 4. So I've been playing a lot of games on PC lately because obviously the graphics had been looking better than the previous gen, but the PC I have will do slightly better than this console, but this if you play games on the console, like Call of Duty, for example, I could play this on the computer and it'd look about the same. I just like the reliability and ease of use of having the game on the console instead of playing it on the PC. So for at least the next coming year or two, I'll probably be playing everything on the PlayStation 4. Then towards the end of the PlayStation's life cycle, I'll head back to PC like I usually do to get the best graphical performances until the next PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2 come out. I don't know what the frick they're going to call it. So there you guys go. That is my impressions. Very long video. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. If you guys want to also continue the conversation in the comments below, please do that. I'll be in there chatting with you guys about the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. If you also want to go on to like my Facebook or Twitter and chat about games and stuff like that, I'll be over there and you can go talk about those. I'm also doing a couple giveaways on Facebook and Twitter, some Steam games. I have maybe 20 or 30 to give away, so I got them all over there if you want to go check those out. And yeah, let's go onto Facebook and Twitter and chat about some games. Just leave comments. I hope you guys chat with each other. I'll respond to your comments. And then also, I wanted to address this for a long time, and I've been forgetting for a long time. The PM system on YouTube. I know you guys PM me, and I've been getting messages on Facebook and stuff like that about me not responding to your PMs on YouTube, your private messages on YouTube. I don't know how to look at private messages on YouTube anymore, so don't send them to me on YouTube. I have no way of seeing them. I don't care anymore about YouTube's private message system. Just message me on Facebook or Twitter or something, and I'll respond there so much faster. Forget YouTube's messaging. Just comment on YouTube, message me on Facebook and Twitter, but also let's go chat on Facebook and Twitter. So long end to the long video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.